Good morning, college baseball fans. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, AJ. It's great to be back on another episode of the Weekend Rotation. How has everybody's week been?
Eventful.
It has been interesting. It's been a week for baseball, let me tell you.
Yes, it has. Mark, your beloved Oregon State Beavers got into quite the pitcher's duel last night.
Oh, it was great. I was live there with fans, and it was great at Goss Stadium. It was a cold Northwest night. It was windy. It was tough. Stanford's a good team. I thought it was very good. Cooper Jerpy. I mean, there's not much else to say about it. 8 innings, 2 hits, 17 strikeouts, ties a Oregon State record, and we can't even give him a run. Lose that ball game 1-0 in the 10th inning. It was tough. The both pitchers threw well. Stanford kids really came in. Stanford brought their Saturday starter in to close that game out. So I don't know what they're planning on doing. Maybe they're going to throw him Sunday. Maybe they'll throw him just less innings today. But it was very interesting to see that, especially late last night. So tough loss, but hopefully they bounce back today.
And AJ, is there any team more Jekyll and Hyde than your South Carolina Gamecocks?
No, I think it'd be hard pressed to find a more Jekyll and Hyde team. You know, we either get swept on the weekends, or we lose midweeks, and then we go and beat teams we shouldn't beat and win the series against them. So, we'll see. We had a good game yesterday, but we have to play 2 more. So, who knows?
There are more teams across college baseball. Let's check in nationally, fellas. You guys catch any great games this week?
Really, I mean, another pitching performance that went under the radar and didn't get a win. Parker Messick last night. He lost. He didn't even get the loss, but he went 8 innings, 2 hits, 11 Ks against a very good Notre Dame team. It makes me sick saying that. But it is a decent Notre Dame team, and he didn't get a win either because Florida State couldn't score in that one. That was brutal. We had 9 top 25 teams in our poll lose in midweek games or lose a game this series.
Yep.
There's a lot going on in midweek. There's a lot of movement in college baseball. The playing field is leveled out with this 35-person rosters. It really has. There's been a lot of talent and people staying in the game right now.
Yeah, and I don't know what's going on in the Big 12 with stealing home with 2 outs in the 9th, but West Virginia scoring 2 on a throw that got away to take the lead. You 2 outs. TCU has their closer on the mound. They're trying to close it out. And I don't think stealing home's advisable in most situations, but it's worked twice the 2 times we've seen it. So
yeah, it's tough to say it's not working. I mean, that's unbelievable. And then the strikeout to end that game.
Yeah, it was not close. It was.
Oh man, there's arguments for sure. That was the umpire was ready to go home. That was embarrassing for umpires everywhere.
Yeah, that painted the corner of the other batter's box. Like
yeah, he couldn't have hit that with a broomstick.
No, that was. You hate to end a game that way.
Yep.
I wonder if come Omaha, if there's a Big 12 team in Omaha, they'll have that skill of trying to steal home, and we'll be saying, "Oh, there was some foreshadowing going on back in."
You know what'll happen is they'll try to do it in Omaha, and then they'll get caught at home. Like, what are you doing? You lost the game.
Yeah, that never works. Okay.
Why would you think that would work?
I was going to touch on those great pitching performances, but we already went through them with Oregon State, Stanford, Notre Dame, and Florida State. So I'll just say Tennessee just keeps proving it. They keep lining up, going up against these great teams. Texas they fell to. They're 1 loss on the year, but they're beating Vandy now. They went into Nashville last night. Apparently there was a lot of trouble with the lights, the bats. There was a sticker situation. I've never heard of the sticker thing before this year. I don't really know what's going on with that, but what a win for the Vols last night. Freshman Chase Burns, I think we'll hear a little bit more about him later on.
Yeah, the sticker thing is so people started doctoring bats, and when they went to the carbon fibers, and then when they went to BB Core, it was a lot harder to do it. Of course, people are going to cheat, try to figure out a way to cheat more. So they had to start compression testing, and they had to start doing that before every series, especially in the SEC. It's tough. It's really a bad system to be putting a sticker on a bat every weekend and hope it sticks on there. I mean, they got to come up with a new system. Something else has to work for that inspection, because if they're inspecting a bat, giving it to the kid, and then he hits a home run and then they take it away because the sticker fell off, that's crap. That's crap. It really is.
And if you can put a sticker on, you can take it off and put it on a different bat anyway. So
exactly, their system is
Thursday. You have all day to change the sticker. I got a buddy who's playing somewhere at a school I will not be named who they do that. So, it's just the system needs to be worked out better. It's
I know what happened for us. So when I played competitive slow pitch, because there's a huge problem with people cheating, they would take all of our bats all weekend and they would put them in a trash can, and you didn't get to touch them the whole weekend. They took them and they would put them in this locked room. You didn't get to see them. You didn't get to touch them. So I don't think they need to go that far, but they got to figure out some way. If that's what they want to do, if they want to test the bats, they want to have them ready to go, they got to come up with a better way than putting a sticker on every weekend.
And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, nor would I ever throw Tim Corbin under the bus, but it just seems like there's always something when Vanderbilt plays in a big series lately. There's always just something that goes wrong. And people are just so quick, oh, it's Tim Corbin and he gets whatever he wants. Hard to say, but it does keep adding up.
And that whistler just doesn't stop. So that doesn't help anybody either.
Yeah, I turned that game on last night and immediately, of course there were no other fans there, and he was just absolutely lighting up the broadcast. It was probably the loudest I've ever heard him.
Yeah.
But AJ, it was speaking of SEC baseball, you made a bold move this past weekend after the Presbyterian Blue Hose lost 36-4, something like that, something insane.
Something like that. They lost
to Campbell, and you said that if that same Presbyterian team goes into South Carolina on Tuesday and wins, you will attempt the Blazing Challenge. And guess what, folks? Presbyterian won the game.
That was the worst game I've ever been at. I knew it was coming. I sent back in the group text like 12 hours before first pitch. I was like, why did I do this? I know what we've done in midweeks. We've lost to Xavier. We lost to the Citadel. It's just going to happen. And lo and behold.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike most people, I was actually rooting for you. I was like, come on, no way do you lose to Presbyterian. This can't happen. And then every inning went by. I was like, this is happening. This is just going to happen today.
It's just like watching a car accident in slow motion.
For about 3 hours there, Presbyterian was America's team. Everybody was going to stand. And all 4 people at the game were just starstruck by this Presbyterian lineup.
Well, 3 of them were Presbyterian fans. I was like, I was trying to talk to the Presbyterian right fielder the entire game, and he never once turned around. I was just like asking him how his day was going. Like, what? Like, could they stop scoring, please? And he just didn't interact with me. So that was probably the most frustrating part. Is even when they were up in the 9th, I'm just like trying to talk to him, and he just won't turn around.
And Presbyterian, they did win their conference tournament last year. That's an NCAA tournament team, but for some reason they've slept on by some people in here, and I think we have video of your not only attempt but completion of the Blazing Challenge.
Yeah, I succeeded. I got the headband.
Is that going? We're good. This hurts. They gave me 12 wings. Well, you only need 10. Is it 10 or 12?
It should be 10. How many you got?
12.
Oh, you only got you 10 of them. You got 245 left.
Oh, man.
I don't know what to tell you. Take your time for that last one. Put it down.
I think you got to put it down. Go for it. It's pretty damn impressive, AJ. I'll give you that.
Don't touch yourself, bro.
No.
That's good advice. Good advice. Oh, man. How was that?
I mean, so I got through the first 3 and I was like, this is fine. and then it just never went away, and I just felt more uncomfortable. And then I looked down at like 5 or 6, and I was like, "There's more in here than there should be." So I was like starting to freak out about, eyes are starting to water up a little bit. I can't see how much chicken I have left on each bone, so I'd hate to lose if I like wasn't clearing all the wings. But the woman who was in the background asked how hot they were, and the guy she was sitting with was like, "They aren't that bad." The 2 left, I offered them each one. He didn't eat his. So.
Of course, yeah. Big talker until they put up to it.
Yeah, but I got the horns down shirt.
Do they taste good? Like, are they like a quality wing?
Yeah, the flavor is actually good on them. So it wasn't one of those things where you put it in your mouth and you're just like, eh. Like it was. I don't think I'd eat them for fun, but if I could have like 2 or 3 of those and space it out a little bit, that's a good wing.
Well, all right.
Not doing it again though.
And what was your time on it?
I think I was like 4 minutes and 17 seconds or something like that. So
That's
5
low.
minutes to eat 10. I was tearing through them. The clock would go dark, and I wouldn't be able to tell how much time. So I was like kind of panicking because I just flying through them.
Many people are calling it an asterisk finish because you didn't eat all the wings on your plate, even if they gave you extra.
I got 2 bonus ones.
Uh-huh.
And he didn't make me pay for the milk afterwards either. So I had to cool that down.
Well, at least showing that AJ's showing that we're a man of our word. So we go on to not squelching on any bets there.
Nope.
And AJ's going to do the same thing for every midweek this
Nope. It's a midweek pick 'em, and if I get any wrong, I have to do it again.
Lock of the week better be right every single week.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good stuff.
But folks love to talk about the SEC. Texas is moving to the SEC, which means Texas and Texas A&M will be playing a lot more often. We got a little taste of what that was like earlier this week. And we had our guy Jake, the one that you guys hear yammer on about the mid majors every week, the A&M guy that we have here. He went down to Austin. I believe he lives near it, so it's convenient. But he went into enemy territory, and he interviewed Occupy Left Field on Twitter. I believe it's at OccupyLF. Great follow on Twitter if you don't already. He's kind of revolutionizing the way Texas fans enjoy games in the outfield. And Jake had the guts to go up and roll up in there.
College World Series 247 with the exclusive interview of Occupy Left Field. Mark, the man behind the Twitter. Good to see you, man.
Good to meet you, man. Absolutely.
So what kind of got started over here with the Occupy? What was kind of the idea behind it?
So you know what? We have a core group of guys that are just huge Texas baseball fans. A lot of us are born and raised in Austin. Parents kind of raised us here at Dish Falk, and we were looking for an opportunity to just create a really cool tailgate here in Austin that would be a fun thing for fans to do before, during, and after games, and that's kind of what started it.
So how late? Yeah, I know that y'all are here before games. What time did y'all get here today?
About 4 o'clock, midweek games. You know, we usually try and get here about 4:30. Weekends are pretty wild, though. We'll get here 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, depending on game time. And,
Right now,
regionals and supers are kind of their own beast as well.
All right, what's the latest y'all ever stayed out here for a game?
There was a regional a couple years ago where we spent the night out here 2 nights in a row. So
Did they win at least?
They did. And, you know, we like to drink a lot of beer, and sometimes we sleep under trees, I'm not going to lie.
So what's the go-to tailgate stack? What's it?
What do you mean by tailgate stack?
Snack.
Oh,
Tailgate snack, yeah.
You know what, man? There's most big conference series will come out with brisket, sausage, do the whole thing. We usually get it catered because we're too lazy to cook it ourselves, but barbecue's barbecue, so that's really the go-to for us.
So I got a lot of questions about this. Did y'all get any inspiration from Duty Noble, kind of the left field lounges there?
To be honest, not really. When we started this over a decade ago, we didn't really know a lot about what was going on at Mississippi State, but obviously we're plugged into that now, and they're just damn impressive. Like, they're leading the charge. They get like 15,000 people at a game, which is ridiculous. And, you know, we love that their university allows them to do that, and they support us. But Joe Conte does that with us here at Austin as well, so we're hoping to grow it.
So who's your favorite current player to work with at UT?
Oh, man, I'd say current players. I'd say Tristan Stevens, our pitcher. The cool thing about being out here in left field is a lot of the families come out and hang out with us. He's like, we joke with him, he's like a 10th year senior, but he's really like a 6th year senior. So we've known his mom and dad for a very long time, and they're a really close-knit part of our family now, and we love cheering for Tristan.
So I noticed y'all do a lot of NIL stuff with charity. Can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we started that this year. NIL is kind of a whole brand new thing in the college landscape, and we like supporting charities here in Austin as well. So we started a nonprofit, and we're allowing the kids to volunteer for the nonprofit, and in return they're getting paid back for their name, image, and likeness, and it's been a good relationship so far.
All right, I want you to rank these 3 rivals from UT: A&M, Tech, and Oklahoma. Rank them from worst
in the
to
order
best.
of like that I hate them.
Like opposing fans, team, just the team you want to beat the most. OU, A&M, Tech.
I think OU is by and large irrelevant in baseball, so they're out. Tech fans are the most obnoxious. I'd have to say A&M would be at the top. They have a really good program, and our fans don't necessarily always get along, but I really respect A&M's program. I wish we played more weekend series.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the thing.
I don't like the Tuesday games, to be honest with you. I feel like a Tuesday game, you shouldn't be able to brag about it for a year. But I like running into A&M in the regionals and on the weekend when we get a chance.
All right, last one. Score prediction for tonight.
The wind is blowing out about 40 miles an hour. If you can get those flags right there. Yeah. I'm gonna say Texas wins 8-2. We're gonna hit 3 home runs tonight.
All right, thank you so much, Mark.
It's great to meet you, man. Hook 'em.
Texas did not win 8-2.
The wind did in fact help a team though, but it was not Texas. Oh, that's crazy. 40 mile an hour out. That's a pitcher's nightmare right there. And you saw it in the game. A&M had a couple butt out home runs where their hands were flaring and they're hitting a fly ball that goes 60, 70 feet further than it should have.
Yeah, the one where he was like lunging out over the plate and it was still a no doubter to left field. Just blew my mind until I realized the wind was gusting out. I was like, A&M doesn't have guys that strong. Like,
no, that grand slam, I was like, excuse me? How does that ball leave the yard?
Yeah.
Pretty disappointed in that one.
Yeah, it looked like it might, be a pop-up to shortstop, and then all of a sudden it just left the building.
Yeah.
But credit to Jake for going in there and not even hiding that he's an A&M fan. He was very proud to stand in front of those folks. And then he left with the win. So I think it was a win-win for Jake.
That's a huge win, yeah, going in there and having a good time and then getting the W as a team. Now they're going to be in SEC play whenever they make that transfer. That's going to be awesome to have that series back. It's going to be really good. Another good one for college baseball.
Yes,
we're going to have to ask Jake if he snagged some free food or anything at the tailgate.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed by that catering comment. Cook your own food. Like, that is the most Texas Vanderbilt level thing I've ever heard. Yeah, we had a great company cater in. Yeah, the grocery store down the street cooked for us.
I was just jealous because I wanted that barbecue, man. That sounds good. We don't get that stuff up here in the Northwest. People are like, what do you have up there? I'm like, salmon. Awesome.
Starbucks.
Lots and lots of coffee. Coffee and brews.
But folks, how about Chase Burns last night? One of many freshmen across the country putting on a show this year. Mark, I think, and AJ both. I think you guys both want to talk about Chase Burns a little bit.
Yeah. So he's highlight freshman. That's what we're doing here. Picking 3 freshmen from teams that we thought are being successful and they're really helping the programs. Chase Burns is ridiculous at Tennessee. He has really made them the most competitive team that they've had in a very long time. 1.15 ERA, 6-0, 52 strikeouts, 10 walks, 154 opposing batting average, and a .79 whip. And whip is walks or hits per 9 innings. So he's not even giving up a hit or a walk every inning. It's ridiculous right now. I also highlighted Travis Bazana, the wonder from down under, from Sydney, Australia, at Oregon State. Kid has come in and been nails. He set the single season batting average record last year in the WCL, which is the West Coast Baseball League. 374, 7 doubles, 2 triples, 3 home runs, 31 RBI, 440 on base percentage. He's been really the spark that the Beavers have needed with some guys missing. missing Wheeler out of the lineup and missing Gavin Logan now. He's going to have to step up and keep going. And then the one that nobody's really talking about is Casey Salk out of Virginia. He's a freshman. He's hitting 407, 6 doubles, 3 triples, 5 home runs, 26 RBIs, 471 on base. It's not just Jake Geloff. There's a lot of good talent there on that Virginia team.
Yeah, so on my original list, I did have Chase Burns, but I'm going to call a little bit of an audible here. So another guy on that Tennessee staff I think is undervalued because of Chase Burns is Drew Beam, who stepped in as their Friday night guy. I mean, 1.13 ERA, 0.53 WHIP. Against Ole Miss, 7 1/3, 3 hits, 1 run. He's not walking anybody. Opponents are batting 105 against him. He's not striking out a ton. He has 25 Ks over 32 innings, but just no hard contact. And you're not going to score in the SEC without hard contact. And then bouncing out West Coast, Thatcher Hurd, stepping in as the Sunday guy for UCLA against Arizona last week. It was 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, 4 Ks. Again, 1.07 ERA. Just, for a young UCLA team, he is going to need to continue to shove if they're going to be what they want to be. And then basically like half the South Carolina starting lineup with injuries and everything. I mean, especially just picking 2 guys for different reasons. Matthew Becker stepping in to pitch, against Texas. He was supposed to go like 2 innings. He went 6, gave up 1 hit and 10 Ks. And then against Tennessee the next week at Knoxville, 5 innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, 7 strikeouts. So he's doing it against good teams. And then Evan Stone in center field, just making unreal plays. Almost won us the second game against Vanderbilt, giving himself a concussion on the wall, staying in the game. It's what he's been able to do, just locking down that spot defensively has helped. South Carolina's hovering around 500 right now, but where they'd be without those 2 guys is not up there. So.
Yeah, I was really hoping to talk about Chase Burns heading into the show as well, but then I got word that you guys were all over that. Chase Burns dominant last night, of course. Would love to see him go a little bit farther into games, but I understand, you got to protect your freshmen. Hunter Hines has just been great in Mississippi, in Starkville. The team has not been great, but they've been good, just not up to Mississippi State standards. He's leading the team with 8 home runs. He's batting just over 300. It feels like every time I turn on a Mississippi State game, Hunter Hines is hitting a home run. He's just been on absolute fire, really, in the past couple of weeks. Really looking forward to him continuing to carry the freight. And then, like you said, Chase Burns. Chase Burns is just dominant. Looking forward to seeing him keep going through that grind of SEC play. He had his first road start in Oxford last week, and truly one of those performances where you thought, okay, he's proving it. He's for real.
Yeah, that's the thing that's crazy when you look across at all these freshmen we're talking about. They're freshmen. They're coming in and playing big-time college ball and playing well. They're just stepping up and being very successful, which is just used to be unheard of that these guys would step in. You might have a freshman who comes in and closes, or might have a guy that comes, stopping. These guys are starters, and they're just straight up beating great teams, and it's very impressive to see. Thatcher Hurd beating that Arizona team and getting the series win was huge. That was unbelievable. I thought for sure Arizona's going to win the next 2 games after losing game 1. Unbelievable.
It's even more impressive when you think about who these guys have to come in and beat out just to start, and then they keep rolling it. They do it maybe during the midweek kind of quietly, and then they sneak up, and all of a sudden they're not only key cogs, but they're carrying the team.
Yeah, it's just, for a freshman to go and contribute at high-end D1 baseball is, just a testament to how talented some of these kids are. And they are kids. They're freshmen. They're 17, 18 years old, playing against 20, 21, 22. You got some super seniors who are 23, and they're still dominating. So it's insanely impressive. We're lucky we get to see them this early. We'll see what career numbers they're going to put up, but you can't have great career numbers unless you start as a freshman. So it's what these kids have the opportunity to do.
Yeah, and with the draft eligibility, it's really cool now. We're going to get to see these guys for 2-3 years. If they got drafted, a lot of these guys got drafted out of high school, they didn't go. And now, so we get them for 3 years in college baseball. That's great for the game. Another guy, Oregon State, Tanner Smith, who's been catching, coming in as a freshman catcher, that's really tough to do. He was splitting games. Now he's getting it all to himself. He's had 2 clutch home runs and ninth innings performances and giving us, I mean, those guys just stepping up. It's incredible to see what true freshmen are coming in and doing this year.
And like you said, we get them for so long that it feels like we get to know them that much longer when they start right away. I think it makes people feel a little bit less connected to college basketball players than they do with college baseball players. Because basketball, you can play 1 year. You could theoretically play one game, get hurt, and you're done. Your career's over. You're going to the NBA. So it's just nice when we can see these guys. And if we see them right away, we know we're getting them for a long time.
Yeah, they can have a college career.
Yeah, you got to make that connection with these kids that are going to be there for a while. You're like, oh, yeah, year in, year out, I get to see the same kid instead of having to be like, oh, cool, I got him for 1 year, and he was great. Outstanding. Bye.
Yep.
And as we all know, great freshman means great success overall, and there's no better success than making it to Omaha. And we have our Omaha 8s updated from the last time we gave them to you. We'll see how they changed from 2 weeks ago.
Well, I'll go first here again. I went first on the last segment for the Omaha 8. So last time I had Tennessee, Arkansas, Oregon State, Texas, Florida State, Arizona, Ole Miss, and LSU. I still have Tennessee. I still believe that they're top dog. I think they're going to get there. Arkansas, I believe that they are playing their best ball they have this year. It's not super exciting, but they're good, and they're going to get to Omaha again. They have enough talent. They have the coaching. They're definitely going to go there. Oregon State, I'm more on the fence, and, I'm a big Beaver guy. Pitching's got to figure it out. I think hitting's going to be fine. There's a blip last night, but I think that Oregon State still gets there. I think they have the talent to get there. Texas, I think they're still the best Big 12 team. They've been struggling a little bit lately. They're 500 in their last 16 games. I still think Texas gets there. I think they figure things out. I think that they get through some of these arm issues that they're having. They get there. Florida State, again, at the end of the year, it comes down to pitching, and they have the best 3 starters in the country. So if you're looking at a 1, 2, 3, they have the best 3 starters in the country. I think that they can get through the ACC. I think that they end up getting to Omaha because of those starters. I switched out Ole Miss, which I know a lot of Ole Miss fans are going to be mad at me because I said that they got to go this year. They're not ever going to go. I got Virginia. Virginia's putting up too many runs. They're holding teams to low runs. Now, they lost last night, but I think Virginia is a good enough team to get there if they continue to go on this trend of being able to score these runs. Scoring 12 runs a game puts you where you want to be making that run to Omaha. I still have Arizona. I think that they have the offensive talent. I think they have the arms. Coming out of the Pac-12, I think there's going to be 2 teams. So it's either going to be Oregon State, Stanford, Arizona, 2 of those 3, but I got Arizona and Oregon State still. And then LSU. If they could field the ball and start making plays and stop making errors, I'd feel a lot more confident in this pick. But that lineup is possibly the only one that competes with the Virginias and Tennessee this year. That lineup can straight up crush the ball. And when you can get runs on one swing of the bat, that puts you in a place to be successful and go to Omaha.
Yeah, I was texting Alex back and forth last night, and he was freaking out about Auburn potentially coming back, and I was like, well, if they start hitting ground balls, you're in trouble. So, but anyway, so my Omaha 8 was Tennessee, Vandy, Georgia Tech, Stanford, Virginia, Oregon State, Arkansas, and UNC. Subbed a few teams out. Still got Tennessee. No one's going to beat them in a 2 out of 3, especially when it matters. Vandy, I think they're just going to be there in the end. They're a team you don't want to play. They're going to, they just know how to win when it comes time. I'm kind of curious about how they're managing their pitching staff right now, but it seems like they're getting used to a bunch of guys throwing those big games and starting, which you need in a regional format. You need more than 3 starters, and I think Vandy's setting themselves up for that already. Oregon State, left them in because I think they are still going to be up there with the class of the Pac-12. I think they're just going to be there at the end of the year. For my sense, they're probably the most talented team out there. And if they don't make it, it'll be a bad season for them. So not to jinx you, Mark, but that's kind of what I got there.
Thanks.
UVA, they're just hot right now. I know they lost at home for the first time all year to Georgia Tech, but that lineup is potent and their pitching staff is holding their own. So can't do anything there. Arkansas, they're just plugging away and just winning under the radar. as or what our 4 seed or not 4 seed, our 4 ranked team in the nation or something like that. You know, they haven't won flashy yet, which we all think is coming, but they've still been winning. And then the new teams I got in, Texas Tech. I think there's just something about this team. They got a little bit of swagger to them. We saw what happens when they let off the gas against Texas. They get blown out in game 3, run ruled. But to win the first 2 games in emotional fashion are huge. Then I got Arizona in instead of Stanford. Arizona, they've shown me that they are just a good team. And again, coming out of the Pac-12, I think they're going to be able to hit. I think they're going to be able to pitch. And they're going to be an uncomfortable super matchup for somebody. And then last spot, FSU, like Mark said, just too much pitching. And when it comes down to, a super regional, you have to beat them twice. And it's hard to look at that pitching staff and go, okay, we got 2 wins here.
Yeah, the Texas Tech I really like. I was almost Texas Tech over LSU. That Texas Tech team, if they can figure out the pitching and if they can get 3 starters to go, they're tough. That offense is very good. They hit the ball around the ballpark. They look very tough, but pitching is their question mark in my opinion.
Yeah, and I need to pull up the stat from when I said Jace Young was about to catch fire. How many home runs he's hit since then? Because it seems like it's one every game.
He is on fire, straight up.
Yeah, I almost put Texas Tech in mind, but I just think back to last year when they played Stanford and they just went freezing cold. So it is a little bit of a worry when they don't really have that pitching to fall back on. Brock Jones just decimated them. But last time my Omaha 8 was Texas, Oregon State, Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Arkansas, and Virginia. We have some familiar faces coming back this time around. Texas, Oregon State, Arkansas, Tennessee, Virginia. Then I'm also bringing in Florida State. I think that pitching staff is just too strong. You can't beat them. Notre Dame found a way, but I don't think they're going to be able to beat them in the postseason. LSU, welcome to Omaha. I was disrespecting them last time, partially because my Iowa State Cyclones were scheduled to play them in the tournament, so I kept them out. And now they're back in. I think that if they can get in the box, if they can somehow host a super regional, I don't know if they're on pace for that right now. They got to step it up, certainly start playing better defense. But if they're going to get all home games, I'm very confident that they'll be in Omaha. And then Oklahoma State. I have the Cowboys putting on a little bit of a show. People kind of forgot about them, but they started the year. They went into Nashville. I'm actually going to be an Oklahoma State game tomorrow, so I'll really get that eye test going. And then did I say Virginia? Yes, I did say Virginia, Texas, Florida State, LSU, Oregon State, and Oklahoma State, along with Tennessee and Arkansas. I would really like to see those Hogs wake up. It feels that they're obviously rolling, and they won 8-1 last night, but it just doesn't feel like that Arkansas team last year, which might actually be a good thing because I don't know if you guys knew this, but Arkansas did not make it to Omaha last year.
Oh yeah, they haven't forgot. I think that team is trying to stay under the radar if that's a possible thing for an Arkansas team to do. Mm-hmm. They are fine with everybody talking about Tennessee. They're fine with everybody talking about Vandy. They're sitting back there going, "Don't worry, we're going to be there. Don't worry about us. We'll be fine." They're just not. They don't have a single player you put your finger on and go, "Okay, that guy is great." They have a lot of talent, but they're not leaning on any one player, which is really what you want for Omaha. So that's why I think they're there. Oklahoma State, that's a different pick. I did not know. I like Oklahoma State. I think that when they lost that series to Gonzaga, that was a tough loss for them. But I mean, Gonzaga again, in my opinion, is a top 25 team. But that Oklahoma State team, they're rolling right now. They're rolling right along.
They figured it out. They were struggling there for a little bit with that Gonzaga series. And then I think they parlayed that into another series loss. But they figured it out. And I'm looking forward to – I think that there are going to be 2 teams from the Big 12, like we said, but I don't think it's Tech. I think Oklahoma State is going to ride that veteran leadership they have and make it to Omaha for the first time since 2016.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of good teams that are going to be in there. It's going to be really tough. Some of these regionals and supers are going to be a blast to watch because there's going to be 2 and 3 seeds that are going to be very difficult, very tough outs, and I'm very excited to see where a lot of these teams go. I know there's a ton of talent out there this year, and they're shown in the midweeks how midweeks keep popping up and beating top 25s.
Just thinking about how hard it was to put together a top 25 this week, just because who
Oh.
falls in where between 11 and 25. And
It was impossible.
five of those teams are hosting regionals
Yeah.
if the season ended today. So yeah, it's going to be very messy. I think it was Baseball America, who we don't talk about, released a projection of what the tournament would look like if it ended today. And sometimes it's easy to say, oh yeah, Vanderbilt would beat this team, but it's murky this year. There are a lot of teams where that's going to go 3 games.
Yeah. And I mean, for what it's worth for me with Oklahoma State, they're actually my first team out. And then I actually had Texas after that. So, if Arizona struggles, I think they're probably my last team in. But I mean, Oklahoma State is good and they're rolling too. You can't ignore the big early series win at Vandy. I think it's kind of characteristic for most teams to have an off series and non-conference play and then kind of get back into it. So I don't believe in Texas. That's just kind of my trend this year. That's my bold prediction for the year is they don't make College World Series. They might not even win their regional. They're going to host one, but they might not even win it.
Yeah,
They're going to get Dallas Baptist and be in trouble.
Like they're 8-8 now, so they've got arm issues. They have arm issues that they need to figure out if they're going to start winning these games. Now they won last night, but they got to figure these things out before you get to a regional.
But folks, we listed a lot of teams. We listed a lot of teams coming to Omaha, but there's more than the teams we just named. Let's get an update on the guys that we often overlook. This is this week's mid-major update from our own Jake. We sent him into Austin, and he looks to be alive.
Yeah, I was in Austin on Tuesday night. Went for that A&M midweek. It was kind of like a preview, I guess, for football tailgates because they were out there early. There was lots of music going. Packed house. I think it said it was the second largest crowd at Dish Falk, or as A&M fans like to call it, the Magic Carpet Ride, because it is turf. So it's kind of a weird game just because a lot of the pitching, you got to see a lot of young guys that you don't really see. A&M and Texas kind of have very similar problems where they lack kind of that back-end bullpen this year. So it was kind of exciting, kind of see maybe the future of A&M and Texas baseball. But want to jump into my mid-major spotlight. For series of the weeks, I have Central Michigan versus Ohio. Central Michigan, has kind of been the front runner of the MAC. They won it last year. They rolled through the MAC, won it by multiple games. This year, they were picked to do the same. And then probably not as good as last year's team, but it's still early. Marcy for Central Michigan kind of leads them in every hitting category and kind of is their catalyst. Jordan Patty's ERA. You're going to see that very, very high 6 ERA, but just keep in mind that he did kind of get shelled around against West Virginia. So since then, he's kind of got it rolling against MAC competition. Last time he pitched to MAC, through 8 innings, 3 hits, no runs. I mean, you're going to win a lot of games where you don't give up any runs. Iowa's sneaky good and kind of maybe punching above their weight class. They beat Kentucky in a midweek a few weeks ago, and they're a really old team. They have probably the second best returning pitching staff, in the MAC baseball. I know that we probably don't talk about the MAC. They don't walk a lot of guys, and they're just very old. So I think that kind of is playing into them a little bit this season. They have a kind of a weird schedule this week. They have a Saturday and then Sunday doubleheader. And then I don't even think this one's really a mid-major because this is almost as good as some of these SEC games we have with Louisiana Tech, Southern Miss. We'll get into that one a little bit more since we are picking it later. And then my last series of the week is going to be Northeastern versus William and Mary. Probably 2 schools that you don't really hear a lot of. Northeastern swept NC State, and they were the first team to beat Clemson kind of back when that mattered. Did get swept by College of Charleston and really can't afford to lose another series. They did lose last night. So at this point in 2022, they have more conference losses than they had all of 2021. And that's kind of crazy to say this early in the season. They really can't afford to give away these teams, like William and Mary. And then the flip side of that is William and Mary preseason, the 2 teams were Northeastern and UNCW. William and Mary had them week 1 and week 2. They beat them on a walk-off home run Sunday, UNCW. So that would be a really, really big win for William and Mary if they could go in, knock out preseason number 1 and number 2, and kind of be in a good position in that conference. And then Lastly, I want to highlight our 3 winless teams that we have left. We have Iona, St. Bonaventure, and UC Davis. Iona, I'm sure everybody kind of remembers them from the Tennessee series where they just kind of got constantly blown out. I would say the one on their calendar that they need to be circling, saying that, this is the game that I think we have the best chance to win, is they play St. Peter's April 15th. That's going to be the circle. For those of you that don't know, St. Peter's is really bad at baseball. Unlike their basketball team, they're kind of about the same level as Iona, or what we thought St. Peter's was in basketball about 2-3 months ago. St. Bonaventure, they have their home opener this Tuesday against Binghamton. I know it's very, very late in the season for a home opener, but I think that's going to be their best chance to go in, win a game, get off this list. And then lastly, UC Davis. They have UC Riverside this weekend. I think that's their best chance to do it. They did get blown out last night by Riverside, but I think, they come in. I think they can win maybe a Sunday game, Saturday game, but, rooting for all 3 of these teams on there to get a win.
Yeah, I love the highlighting of Northeastern. I think they're one of those teams who, coming out of the Colonial, it's either them or UNCW, who no one wants to play in a regional. It's one of those 3 seeds you don't want to see slotted in there. They actually won the conference tournament on a walk-off home run last year. So imagine clinching your spot in the tournament on a walk-off home run and just being built for it. And this team, sweeping NC State, beating Clemson, no one's going to want to see them. I think they turn it around. It's a good program there.
Yep. Just for the fans that probably don't watch a lot of mid-majors, I would kind of compare them to Texas this year, where they've, at times looked like the best team in their conference. Then other times they've kind of just disappeared. So if you're kind of looking for a comparison, I would say Northeastern is kind of like a Texas.
Jake, the last of these winless teams to win a game, can you make the commitment to buy an article of clothing, maybe a shirt, maybe a hat, for this team?
Yes, I can make that commitment. I really want to see if I can get up to Iowa St. Peter's, just to kind of, film an atmosphere. I've been to a Penn State whiteout, so I'd love to see kind of how an Iona St. Peter's baseball game kind of compares to it.
Whole other level.
It is from a city park, so it is not an on-campus stadium for Iona. But if one, I'll make a better deal. The first team to not go winless, I'll buy an article of clothing from them.
Whoever wins next between those 3 teams.
Yes.
I like it.
And if they all win on the same day, you got to buy all 3.
Yes. Yes. I'm a big Rick Pitino fan, so it wouldn't be that hard to get an Iona shirt.
And if they all go winless, you have to do the Blazing Challenge.
I'm an Austin guy, so I'll do the Pluckers Challenge, which is the same thing.
We'll take it.
Can we get that in writing?
It's on video.
It's on the show now.
On
It's
internet
live.
forever. Yeah, we're live.
We're up. Our fans won't let us forget this stuff.
Well, when you're betting your life savings on Iona, St. Bonaventure, and UC Davis to go winless for the rest of the season, why don't we get some money for you to make right now? Our betting segment for the week brought to us by Alex and Barstool Bets. Alex, how are you going to make us rich this week?
Oh, hey, Noah. Had kind of a rougher week last week. It was off to a great start. The first week went 3-0. Last week we ended up going 1-1, even though I picked 3 games because one of the games got canceled.
By those cowards in Notre Dame.
Yeah,
they wanted none of that.
Oh, Virginia Tech came out pissed last night. Though they're ready to get it off their chest.
Yeah, for sure. And but hey, we're hoping to bounce back this week. I mean, I'm still at 4-1, so we're still doing well. As far as betting goes. So this week, my bets of the week. Let me get. Hang on here, I messed up. I apologize. Let me pull this up real quick, and we'll get our bets of the week going. All right, so bet of the week: Texas, Oklahoma over 10.5. I mean, I don't see. Oklahoma's already used their star pitcher. He's done for the weekend, so I can't imagine that Oklahoma is able to hold Texas down. And with the issues that Texas has had on the pitching staff, which we've kind of touched on already, I don't see how you hold this game under 10.5 runs. So I'm taking that. And then I'm taking Florida plus 108. just because Florida lost the first two games. They lost Thursday and Friday night, and I don't see them losing, getting swept. So I think Florida has a bounce back win today. And then I also like North Carolina over Virginia Tech. North Carolina had a rough weekend last weekend, and I think they're due for a bounce back weekend.
Yeah, and Virginia Tech won last night, so I'm with you. I think North Carolina comes back and wins today. And like you hit it, Texas having all those arm issues, and Oklahoma using their stud. There's 10.5 is not a lot there.
Yeah, no, I can't imagine. I don't understand why that's at 10.5, but hey, I'm going to take advantage of it.
Take it and run with it.
They want to give me money, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Alex, I noticed you did not pick the over in the Ole Miss game. Why?
Well, Ole Miss, I'm just steering clear of betting anything with Ole Miss. They are too unpredictable, and I'm just staying away from Ole Miss.
Fair.
Well, that's
They
fair
burned
enough.
me last week, so I'm not, fool me once, shame on me, right? Fool me twice. Or fool me once, shame on you.
All right, George Bush.
Ouch. Oh, man. All right, so I think we'll roll into our picks for this week. So first, we got our standings. Where we stand. We all kind of had a rough week last week. We all hovered around 500 on the week. But I'm still in the lead. At 13-7.
I'm in the lead.
Oh, you're right. Oh, my bad.
I'm
Yeah,
14-6.
apparently Mark's got a full conference schedule already played.
Yeah, I'm 14-16. Let's go.
Well,
It's a prediction. He's just going to fall off.
Yeah, I'm going to do terrible this week. I'm already 0-1, so let's just get into it.
all right. Look, going into game one for this week, we got Tennessee and Vanderbilt, and clean sweep for Tennessee. Nobody any faith in the Commodores, huh?
I don't want the Whistler to win. That's why I just picked this there. Yeah, I can't pick Vanderbilt.
No, I mean, Tennessee, we saw it last night. They're just too talented. They have so much on the offensive side. The freshman pitching is too good there. I think that they're just a cut above what Vandy is right now. And Vandy hasn't really played anybody this year yet. So this is an interesting one to see how they're going to come back from adversity from last night's loss.
Yeah, I just don't know if – I mean, this is the kind of series for me where is Vandy going to win a game or are they going to get swept? Tennessee is just dominant. They're rolling. They're playing loose. They're having fun. They could have, after the solo home run that wasn't yesterday, they could have completely melted down. They didn't. Luke Lipsius hit his home run and they did the bat sticker celebration afterwards. Like, that team's playing loose. They're having fun. There's just no way you can go against Tennessee right now.
That team does not care about anybody else at all, and they're showing it. They're just steamrolling. And we love to see it. We love Tennessee far before it was cool. And it is a little bit weird to watch this Vanderbilt team. They just don't feel like a Vanderbilt team. It's just they have holes in the lineup. It's just not what you're used to. But the Whistler is still there. They showed him on screen last night. And I always knew this, but it's just gross every time I see it. But he's a finger whistler. Like, he goes, 2 fingers in the mouth. And that is just so gross. How do you, not get chapped? And how do your fingers, function? I want to see him somewhere freezing. I want to see his fingers freeze with his mouth. Like the kid from Christmas Story in the light pole.
Oh, man. All right, so next up we got Oregon State and Stanford. Jake seems to be the only one that's got any faith left in Stanford.
Yeah, I think they kind of figure it out here. I think Oregon State is kind of a little overhyped with how deep the Pac-12 is. And I feel like it's just such a gauntlet so far. And when you have really good pitching like Stanford does, you're going to win a lot of games. I mean, they shut down Arkansas's lineup, shut them out that game. I know that kind of feels like ages ago, but you always got to think that Stanford's going to get into that Omaha discussion. And I think this is one of those weekends where they prove it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm never picking against my Beavs, obviously. So when they're on here, I'm going to take them every time pretty much. And Jake, you hit it. I mean, last night they showed it. They shut down the best offense in the Pac-12 pretty easily, and it was a brutal game. But I still think Beavs bounce back today, and I think that it's a slugfest on Sunday.
Yeah, I always thought this was going to be a good series. For me, it was I thought Oregon State was going to have enough offense. Game 1 they had no offense, so hopefully they just save that up for game 2 and game 3, so Jake doesn't gain one on the field here. But this was one of those coin flips for me. I had a couple of coin flips this week, but this was one of them for sure.
Yeah, I just thought that Oregon State would come out and out hit them like they've been doing to everybody all year, but apparently not. That's not what's going to happen. If you had told me that Cooper would have 17 strikeouts last night, I would think, okay, Oregon State's going to sweep them. But here Stanford is with a 1-0 lead. So that is the Pac-12 this year. Don't sleep on any series in America's conference, but hopefully the Beavers can rebound. But apparently I just go 5-5 every week, so I'm due to drop this one, I guess.
All right, next we got my LSU Tigers against Auburn. Had a good bounce back win last night. Lost the first game and just one bad inning. One bad inning was all it took to cost LSU the game Thursday night. But we got the rubber match this afternoon. So what are you guys thinking? I mean, Jake just doesn't want Auburn to be. He just wants Auburn to be better than they are because they beat his Aggies.
Yeah, I was telling Alex that I think the only reason I picked Auburn was it was a coin flip for me, and Auburn beat A&M and LSU didn't. I know that was probably it's different every week, but I just think LSU eventually they're just gonna get bit in the ass with how many errors they give up. And when they face good teams, and I think Auburn's kind of in that second tier in the SEC. I wouldn't say they're anywhere near Tennessee's level or anything like that, but you just can't give away outs in games. And LSU has just a streak of giving away just ground ball errors, and I think good teams punish you for it, and Auburn's a good team, so that was kind of the difference for me.
Yeah, Auburn can hit. So, I mean, I've been saying it all year that I think that they're right on the cusp of being a top 25 team. I think they're competing, like you said, that second tier of SEC. But LSU is the better team overall for me. I think that they just can hit the ball better. I think that they're better overall. I hope that they come out and win today. So hopefully they can get another win here.
Yeah, it's very hard to pick against LSU in the box, but I keep waiting on this Auburn team to fade, and then they just keep winning series. So who knows? Maybe this is the one where LSU wins, but it'd be great. It'd be great if they could. Are they going to be wearing their Sunday yellows even though it's a Saturday? Is that a thing?
I don't know. I hope so. Last weekend they didn't wear the Sunday golds at all. They just they had gray on Sunday. So hopefully they bring back the Sunday golds.
Wow. Okay. Well, that might change my vote.
All right, next up we got Georgia Tech and Virginia, and then another clean sweep for Virginia.
And we could be in trouble here.
Yeah, but
Georgia Tech looked good last night. Tech looked like they were the Tech team that we had in the first few weeks. They thought they looked like they were the team that we had all ranked in the top 10 for a little while. But Virginia, I think, still comes out. I think Virginia has the pitching and the offense to win this 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I mean, definitely uphill. Got to win the last 2 games of the series. But if there's a team that you can do that can win 2 in a row right now, I think you look and you go, all right, Tennessee and Virginia, and unless they're playing each other, that'll be, the 2 teams you pick. So I feel good about this still. If Georgia Tech does it, then then they're trending in the right direction. That's great for that program. But I still think Virginia in a decent situation here.
Yeah, I really struggled with this one. The one that kind of scared me away from Georgia Tech was when I picked Kentucky over Arkansas a couple weeks ago and they got swept. So I kind of got really, really strong vibes during this one. I think Georgia Tech's really good. I mean, that Georgia series, they played like one of the better teams in the country and like they could compete in the SEC. It's a deadly combination of insanely good pitching and really good hitting, because Virginia they can win games 2-1, 1-0, and then they can also turn around and beat you 10-8 because they can swing the bat so well. I just think that Virginia is just going to have too much, and they're the front runners in the ACC, and they prove it week in and week out. And I think they win the next two in this one and prove it here too as well.
Yeah, I tend to think that Virginia can get it done too. They've been extremely hot, just up there with Tennessee, but they're finally getting respect, and I hope they're not cracking under the pressure. People are finally tuning into Virginia baseball. They're saying, yeah, this is one of the best teams in the country. Hopefully they don't pull a Georgia Tech and fade.
Maybe our boy Steven Schock needs to go have a conversation with them, get them going back in the right direction for this weekend.
He was there last night. I'm sure he was in the clubhouse post game, yelling, throwing chairs, pulling an Augie Garrido.
maybe he found them some Dippin' Dots. All right, so Mississippi State, Arkansas. No faith in the Bulldogs of Mississippi State.
They just look lost offensively, pitching. Every time you turn on, there's a highlight for them. Oh, they hit, a huge bomb. They're not doing the little things to win games right now, and that's what they need to change if they want to make a run later in this season. Arkansas's a better team. I think we all three had Arkansas in our Omaha 8. This one felt like an easier pick for me, even though some state fans are hoping that this is when they were going to turn the season. Didn't look like it last night.
Yeah, Mississippi State is kind of playing like Ole Miss used to without scoring all the runs, where they're kind of losing games where, okay, you're playing first to 10, but then you're also letting them get to 10. So it's a little weird to watch them. Maybe like Ole Miss, they'll turn it on at some point, but it's just so weird to watch a Mississippi State program that is known for, even when they're down, they're still a dominant team, and there's, like you said, lost out there. But Arkansas, maybe this is their razzle-dazzle weekend where they break out. That 8-1 win was a little taste of it, but still looking forward to seeing them at their peak, because I don't think we've seen Arkansas as good as they can be. Not even close.
Yeah, I just think it's so tough to go into the hog pen and win games, even when you're hot and streaking. And Mississippi State, when they kind of face these elite teams and these elite pitchings, it seems like it's a coin flip whether they're lost playing in some of these games. Arkansas is quickly kind of running away with the SEC West a little bit because they've just had such a favorable schedule early. I'd be very shocked if Mississippi State even won a game. The hog pen's just too much. I mean, even when Mississippi State's good, it's tough to go in to play the hog pen.
Yeah, for me, I think this is the first series all year that Arkansas has had circled on their calendar, and this is their weekend to get fired up. So I do think this is the weekend we see, something big out of Robert Moore. Somebody steps up for that team to, I don't know, win them a game, but have a signature moment early in the season and kind of, put their foot on the gas a little bit.
That's really what's missing. There's just been no highlights.
Yeah. That's what we were saying earlier. So there's just not been any one guy to lean on, which is not a bad thing, but it also doesn't make you get in the national eye and get people talking about you yet. So we've talked more about Mississippi State than we have about Arkansas. Mississippi State's not good.
See, I'm on the opposite side of that, I guess, because I started following some Arkansas fans. I got in their channels and stuff like that. I always see Arkansas get posted. They're all over Twitter talking about how they're being disrespected by being at number 2. That the meme of them dropping it against Oregon State's offensive. I think Arkansas. I love that meme, by the way. That's my favorite.
Did you see I sent that back out last night before the game against Stanford? I don't know if you guys saw that, but I was like, oh, accidentally, I found this one. And it was the foul ball dropping, but instead of the ball, it was the national championship trophy.
Yeah, Arkansas's. I mean, I really hate to say this because Tennessee's been so good, but if Tennessee wasn't as good as they were, I think Arkansas would be the team everybody kind of talks about. It's just we kind of expect this from Arkansas. It's almost like an attrition.
All right, well, next up we got Texas OU, and horns up, it looks like, all across the board. I mean,
I really wanted to go Oklahoma here, but I just I'm down on Texas, but I'm not that down. So Oklahoma's not who they have been in seasons past with that pitching staff. I think Texas is going to roll.
Yeah, I think you nailed it right there, AJ. That Oklahoma staff is not what they have been in the past. I think if they had dudes on the mound, I'd give them a shot in this one. But Texas, too much offense. I hope that this is the weekend they figure it out for their sake. I hope that they can turn this thing around and maybe figure out who their dudes on Saturday, Sundays are going to be now, and to get this thing turned around.
Yeah,
Texas really scares me this year because they started off so hot and they've kind of had a ton of adversity here kind of in the middle of the season. And it really is kind of setting up for them to get on a roll towards the end of the season and just roll right into conference play. I mean, they have a ton of bulletin board material. And I think this is the weekend that they really figure it out. They play them. They play TCU next weekend, kind of looking ahead a little bit. The schedule kind of lines up for them going into, Big 12 play. And they can kind of figure out a lot of things. I think kind of looking ahead a little bit, the only thing that really scares me about Texas is they really don't have that Cole Cantonilla this year of that back end guy where, when you can just turn the light on, know the game's over, everybody go home. They just don't have that this year. But the flip side of that is I think they are a lot better hitting team than they were last year. When your 7-hole hitter, Faltini, could, drive a ball 450 twice, you're going to be in a lot of good games. And they go about 7 or 8 deep, even on the hitting side. They're really good. And I would be shocked if they're not even hosting a super. I know that they've kind of been about 500 ball, but again, this is where it always sets up in baseball, where the team that's hot early disappears, comes back, rolls through.
Mm-hmm. It's really hard to pick Texas to lose 2 series in a row. And like Jake said, we know they're going to get hot again. And we know that they're probably going to be the number 1 team in the country at some point again the rest of the season.
I don't know about that.
Write it down.
In pencil.
In pencil. All right, so we got Georgia and Florida. Now this series is Georgia kind of already has this one wrapped up, but for the viewers, these were all picked Thursday night. So, or Thursday during the day, I got everybody's picks in. So these were all picked before any of the games were played. So there we go.
Yeah, AJ and I didn't just pick losers on purpose. Florida, I thought Florida was going to be enough, and they had it. They had the Thursday night game, and they blew it away. They should have had enough to go in there, and then last night, Georgia just looked like the better team. So it'll be interesting for Florida's season, and if they can come out, they got to come out and get a win here. Otherwise, they're starting off with some bad SEC starts here, and that would be not good for Florida moving forward.
Yeah, I thought Hunter Barco was going to shove Thursday, which he did. Bullpen just blew it. And I thought Cannon was going to win it for Friday for Georgia. So I thought it was going to come down to today for him. It did not. They blew the lead Thursday. Great win for Georgia. I know a lot of us either had them like close to being out or in like that 22 to 25 range in the rankings. So this is definitely a series win that Georgia needs to gain some legitimacy.
Yeah, I picked Georgia partially because I knew that I needed the points, and I thought you guys would be all over Florida in this one. And then I see that it's actually the popular pick was Georgia, but really glad that they were able to come out. I figured that if they could beat Hunter Barco, then they had a great chance of winning one of the next 2 because they're a good team. But they're getting slept on a little bit. People are I think there was somebody like, why is Georgia even ranked? Well, they're all right. And now there's not going to be a question now that they've taken this series. But if they can get the sweep, that would be mighty impressive for them. Don't look now, but Florida is 3-5 in the SEC.
Yep, that's what I was saying. They're trending the wrong way if they lose tonight's game. That is a bad start in the SEC if you start 3-6.
Mm-hmm.
I've been really high on Georgia for a while. I know that they kind of disappeared when Georgia Tech went and beat 2 of 3 from them, but I think they're a really, really good team. And they're kind of starting to get the respect they deserve, beating Florida. They're going to be right in it, kind of in that second tier of a 2 seed that you really don't want to see. They really do have the pitching. When you're recruiting Georgia, I know that a lot of their talent leaves Georgia. You're just going to be one of the more talented teams in the country. And Florida trending the wrong direction. I don't think you want to go and play your rival on the road. Because, as A&M UT proved in a midweek, people just love going to watch the rivals play. And it just elevates that status. And it's just tough to go in and win games on the road.
Yeah, for sure. All right, now, next we got going out to the Pac-12 for Oregon UCLA. I've been high on UCLA all season, so I had to keep riding them. But no,
yeah. Last night was last night was a good game. I mean, 3-2, UCLA ended up winning that game. The coin flip here in this one for me was, one, I don't particularly love Oregon, being a Beaver fan, but at UCLA was the difference there. And Oregon's bats have been so hot and their pitching has been lackluster. So UCLA winning that game last night, I don't think that they're going to win the Sunday game against Thatcher. So, I mean, I think that's where this game's going to lie. Today, maybe Oregon has a chance, but they're not winning Sunday.
Yeah, I have been sleeping on this UCLA team. They're the new Florida State in terms of me disrespecting them. I know as soon as I start picking UCLA, they'll start losing. Like really, they should be. They are not more talented than Arizona. They are probably more talented than Oregon, at least in terms of experience plus talent, and they're just finding ways to win. I don't get it. Oregon was red hot heading into this. Red hot. Nobody was hotter than Oregon other than Tennessee and Virginia. But UCLA is just finding ways to win right now. I'm telling you, I'm going to pick them the next time they're on here, and they're going to start losing.
See, I was on the complete 180 of you, Mark. I really struggled because I think both of these teams have been a little overhyped and overrated. I thought the difference for me was that Oregon was hotter, but, I mean, they proved it last night that being hot in the series really doesn't translate. Yeah, this is just one of those games where I had to pick one. I don't think either of these teams really go that far in the Pac-12. Just off of what I've seen from the eye test from UCLA. And then Oregon, it seems like they just kind of dance around that top 25. Like, they play good and then they play bad. So I really don't want to put a lot of faith in Oregon either.
I really thought this was going to be people were riding high on Oregon because I almost picked Oregon. The logic would almost tell you, hot team, young UCLA team coming off big series win. They're going to come back down to earth. That was my logic. And I went, okay, it's the Pac-12. Flip it. I'll pick UCLA. And, I thought this would be my time or my pick to get one back on the field. But again, like Noah, apparently I'm with the favorites now. So.
All right, so next we got Florida State, Notre Dame. Notre Dame took the first game, but I think we all agree here that Florida State's the better team.
Mm-hmm. We've been saying all year it's really hard to beat Florida State and do it twice in a series. We'll see. Notre Dame looks like they're in the driver's seat to beat them twice. If you can beat Parker Messick, you have a good chance winning a series. Really strong chance, some would say, but hopefully Florida State can figure it out. Obviously, if Notre Dame does go on to lose this series, Baseball America will have them at number one.
I could not, in good conscience, pick Notre Dame since I am refusing to put them in my top 25 right now. I think Florida State is a better team. I was very disappointed that Notre Dame won in extras last night, but I think Florida State comes back and wins the next two.
Yeah, I was the same way. One of my, favorite teams, Virginia Tech, one of the, 200 that I have. When they canceled the game last week, I was just really offended by it. I know it snowed, but when you cancel conference games, I just don't think that translates very well down the road. Florida State's, it's kind of weird because we slept on them for so long and then we finally give them credit and they turn around and lose in extra innings. I think they come out, win the next two games. I've always kind of thought, extra inning games were kind of a toss-up to really not look too deep into them, even when I said that last week with Tech and Texas. I think, these next two games are kind of where Florida State proves that they're the better team. And I wouldn't be shocked if Notre Dame kind of fades in that tough ACC just with the gauntlet that it's kind of starting to turn into. They did get a little lucky. They have to avoid Virginia Tech, so there's that, but don't put a lot of stock in Notre Dame this year.
It wasn't luck. They chose not to play that series.
All right, last game of the week. We got Louisiana Tech and Southern Miss. Well, I had to go with Louisiana Tech because I went to school there, so I had to go with my Bulldogs, my Diamond Dogs. But that should be a great series. I mean, Southern Miss won last night in pretty convincing fashion, but don't sleep on Tech. Taylor Young in that squad, they can bang. And Kyle Krieger coming out of the bullpen, he can shut them down.
Yeah, I thought that Tech was going to have the offense in this one, and then last night it was the opposite. Southern Miss came out and started crushing the ball. I still think Tech wins this series. I think that they have more offensive firepower and just generally a better offense. But, Southern Miss showed last night that they can hit with anybody in that conference.
Yeah, they might even be the best team in Mississippi. I know it's probably going to piss off a lot of our Ole Miss, Mississippi State people, but they can hit. It's a tough place to go and play. Their fans get out there early, get rowdy. Honestly, this one was kind of a no-brainer for me. I think Southern Miss is a really, really good team. I know Louisiana Tech's a really good team, but Southern Miss just going to have too much firepower. They're just overall the better team, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I almost felt bad. Sorry. Noah, you go ahead.
Okay. That environment last night was crazy. We had 2 guys out there. Just one of those wild scenes where you really appreciate it when it's at that level. You kind of forget about Southern Miss in the state of Mississippi. But yeah, what a great environment. And then they tore the cover off the ball, and then they pitched really, really well.
Yeah, you better get to them early because, if you get the fans in the game, it's even harder to come back.
Yeah, this was one of those series I almost felt bad having to pick a team. I just want to sit back and watch these 2 go at it. Like, if they played – a 7-game series, I think we'd watch all 7. It's just a great matchup. 2 fun mid-majors to watch. For me, it was a literal coin flip. I flipped a coin. So,
yeah, these are a couple 2 seeds you're probably looking at somewhere that are going to be really tough. They're going to be a tough regional for someone.
Yep.
That's not a fun 2 seed coming in wherever you're playing.
I know. I almost even want one of them to host like a 14-15 in that range, just because both of them have such electric environments. Like, I'd rather see a game there than like Georgia Tech or something like that.
Well, that's what it was last year. These 2 teams met in the conference tournament kind of for the right to host a regional.
Yep.
And then Louisiana Tech ended up getting that regional in the Love Shack.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say. The loser of this, whoever loses the conference here, they're probably going to go play Ole Miss in their regional and go beat them there. So.
Yeah, so that's what we got for this week. Any closing thoughts, fellas?
No questions this week? Nothing came up already?
Well, actually, we got one question. Here we go. How long before Mississippi State fans turn on their coaching staff?
Oh, man.
I think they got a bit. It's the post-championship hangover.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they're playing bad teams either. They start off with Long Beach State, who's not a bad team. The SEC grind is a grind. If they put up the same record that, if they go 12-18 in conference, maybe you start hearing some, you better right the ship next year. But I think Lemonis is going to be fine.
Yeah, I don't think you can get rid of the guy now. You just won a national championship, and it's your first national championship in any team sport. They can't. The seat cannot be that hot right now. Mm-hmm. Yes, they're upset that they're not playing well, but there's no way you get rid of him.
I think he's a lifer. Mississippi State's AD is a baseball guy. I don't see them making a change. I remember my freshman year at Mississippi State, Dan Mullen lost to South Alabama, and no one in the fan base really kind of batted an eye. It's very, very hard to get fired from Mississippi State, even originally, and then you bring them a national championship. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to be old senile like Wayne Graham or Augie, where he's there forever. I wouldn't read too much into it. I just don't think they have, the hunger that they've had in past because they got to the top of the mountain. So, once the cycle kind of gets out, maybe they get kicked in the teeth a little bit. They'll come back to work in fall camp. But no, I don't take stock in Lemonis leaving.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I thought about, like, going into the season was, okay, is Mississippi State really going to be, the top of the line team? Because what are they playing for? It's very hard to get up to say, oh yeah, let's go win another national championship, because it's, you won it all. It's called it all. So it's hard to go and say, all right, there's more to play for now. It's kind of a weird dynamic, especially when you lose guys like Tanner Allen and Rowdy Jordan. But yeah, I think everything's going to be long-term is going to be just fine in Starkville. But we all know that when Lemonis is ready to hang it up, Jake Mangum will be the head coach of the Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Yeah. It's hard to win back. The only 2 teams, South Carolina and Oregon State are the only 2 that won 2 College World Series back-to-back in the last 25 years.
Yep.
So,
all right, if you go back 25 years, yeah, but, 96, 97 LSU.
Yeah, you can go that too. I'm fine with that. It's hard. It's just hard
I mean,
to win.
that's within 25
back
years.
to back.
I was born in 97. I'm 24. So, yeah.
And I would
Hey,
almost put that South
boom.
Carolina one, that back-to-back, as an asterisk because they won it with the old bats and then the new bats. They had to kind of adopt a completely different style. So it wasn't like it was two very, very different teams, I felt like, when they got there.
And
Just
we
with
were
the
in
bats
the
and everything.
finals 3 years in a row. So it's not like we fell
You
off either.
disappeared, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was in two different stadiums too. Just like
Yeah.
Yep.
Mississippi State has a chance to do the same now that it's the Chuck. Completely different stadium.
Oh, well, our guy Sean wanted to chime in on his Arkansas Razorbacks. I think he feels like we're disrespecting them a little bit, saying that they're under the radar. But yeah, Jalen Battle's coming in. He's swinging the bat pretty good, huh?
Yeah, I mean, again though, if it's not really coming up on our radar, who are guys who love baseball, and we're watching all these games, I still think they're under the radar. I think that they're good. I have them in Omaha. I don't know what else. I don't know what Arkansas fans want from me. Okay, they're good, but they're just not being the highlight team that we've seen in the past, where they show up and people are afraid of them.
Yeah, it's okay to be number 2 in the country. Like, it's okay.
Yeah, see, this is what I was saying earlier, how you can't really get away from Arkansas fans because they're always, whooping and they're not quiet.
I get away from them because I'm an Oregon State fan, so they don't like to come talk to me. And I got the ultimate trump card. They're like, nope, stay away from this guy. Nope, I don't want to hear this.
All right, one more fan comment here. So at what point do we give up on Texas?
I've already given up on Texas. I just think that there are too many teams who have a true number one guy who can shut down an offense. And Texas, they don't have a guy with overpowering stuff in the rotation. And like Jake was saying earlier, they don't have the bullpen guy who you put in the game and the 8th, 9th inning and go, all right, we're good. They don't have that this year. And I think a lot of teams do. And I think a lot of teams are going to capitalize on the fact that Texas doesn't. I just think they trip up.
I think TCU is kind of where, for me, I give up on Texas. Just because I think if they don't beat TCU, that'll kind of be the barometer of where they are. I mean, it really, really lines up for them going forward to play some of these bad teams. Like, I just have the schedule in front of me. They play Kansas State, Baylor, home against Oklahoma State, West Virginia, Kansas. I could see them, with the exception of maybe Oklahoma State, they should sweep Kansas, West Virginia, Baylor, and Kansas State.
Yeah.
And they're going to get right really quick. And when you're winning a lot of games and you remember all these people kind of talking about you, I just can't I can't pick against them in Omaha just because they're going to be they're going to have everything. They're going to be hot from playing some bad pitching. They're going to have all the bulletin board material from everybody, yelling at them. And then people forget they're the only team that's beat Tennessee really this year. So they still are an Elite One team where they have that frontline starter.
Yeah, I think for me to give up on Texas, they're going to have to lose the TCU series and lose the Oklahoma State series. I think they got to lose both of those for me to say that they're not going to be at least hosting a regional. And if you host a regional, you have a chance at Omaha. That's how it really goes. There's not a lot of teams that are not in the top 16. It's really tough to say that they don't have a chance of getting there.
Yeah, I'll give up on Texas when I see the NCAA tournament bracket come out and they play a better team than them in a potential super regional. That's when I'll say, all right, Texas isn't going to make it here.
Or
But
if they
until-
get Dallas Baptist in their region. If they have Dallas Baptist in the
Or
region, then
Texas State,
Yeah, Texas State, yeah.
Sam.
Yeah.
I mean, A&M's almost playing their way into the tournament now too. That might even be an exciting regional.
They'll line them as many Texas teams up as possible, just the way it is.
Yeah,
then
to
they'll
save
throw
on
Oregon
travel.
State
That's
in there.
why.
Mhm.
they'll be like, oh, TCU, Dallas Baptist, and Oregon State. Go ahead and come on down. Let's just make this real fun.
Well, so if you squint for the other Texas teams, we can it'll be like, oh, they play in Texas, so they're the same colors.
Oh man. Well, I think that's all we got for the show tonight, fellas. Any closing thoughts?
Let's go, Beavs. Got to get one today.
Yeah, let's make my picks go 10-0. This is the week.
Just
didn't you
one
already
of the
pick
next
Florida?
two for A&M. They get a series win. 2 of 3 series wins. That's going to be big for a team in their first year. So really, really rooting for them today against Alabama. I know I'm pumping the brakes with Alabama, but even to win against Alabama, it's almost like icing on the cake for A&M.
Yeah,
you guys
South
just-
Carolina's going to win another weekend series and lose to whoever we're playing in the midweek next week. So
It worked for Louisville. It's always worked for Louisville, that formula.
Jake, did you see Kyle Umlong? Is it? You say you tell me every week. How's it
Yeah.
pronounced?
So first off, it was a meaningless midweek game. Second, Texas has more swimming and diving championships in the last. Hold on, let me see. Texas has more swimming and diving championships in the last 6 months than A&M has baseball wins in Omaha. So there was that from Kyle Umlong. What was the other one? Texas. This is his go-to. Texas has won more games in Omaha since 2000 than A&M has ever. A&M's last College World Series win was closer to the premiere of Gilligan's Island than it is to today. That was the other one. Very obscure. Big Gilligan Island fan, I guess. Kyle Umlong.
You talked to Left Field Lounge. Can you get Kyle now?
Kyle might be tough because I can't just show up. I don't even know if he's real. He could just be a troll for all I know.
Good stuff, fellas.
All right, guys, let's go. Let's go enjoy another great weekend of college baseball.
Let's go.
All right, have a good one, fellas.
y'all too.